If you've ever pulled off peel and stick wallpaper only to find chunks of paint coming with it, or watched your freshly applied panel slide and bubble within a week, this video is going to save you a lot of frustration. Peel and stick wallpaper is one of the easiest ways to transform a room without a major renovation, but there are a few things most people skip that make all the difference between a result that looks great for years and one that fails in weeks. This is a beginner-friendly project. You don't need any special skills, and you can realistically do an accent wall in a single afternoon. Budget-wise, peel and stick wallpaper typically runs between $1 and $3 per square foot depending on the brand and pattern, so a standard accent wall might cost you anywhere from $40 to $120. Not bad for a transformation that would take a professional installer hours with traditional wallpaper. Before we talk about application, let's go over what you'll need. Pick up a squeegee or a wallpaper smoothing tool. A credit card works in a pinch, but a proper squeegee gives you much better control. You'll also want a sharp utility knife or box cutter with fresh blades, a level or a plumb bob, a measuring tape, a pencil, and a clean microfiber cloth. For prep, have some rubbing alcohol or a teaspoon substitute cleaner on hand. If your walls have any texture at all, grab a small container of joint compound and a wide putty knife. Now here's the part that most tutorials rush past, and it's the reason so many people end up with peeling panels or damaged walls: wall prep. This step makes or breaks the whole project. First, your walls need to be clean. Not just visually clean, free of any grease, dust, or residue. Wipe the entire surface you plan to cover with a microfiber cloth dampened with rubbing alcohol. Let it dry completely. This removes the invisible film of cooking grease, skin oils, and dust that adhesive simply won't bond to properly. Second, check your paint. Peel and stick wallpaper works best on walls painted with a flat or eggshell latex paint that has fully cured. If the paint was applied less than 30 days ago, wait. Fresh paint hasn't fully hardened, and the adhesive can bond more strongly to the paint than the paint bonds to the wall, which means when you eventually remove it, you'll pull paint off too. The same risk applies to older paint that's already flaking or bubbling. Scrape and repaint those spots and let them cure before you proceed. Third, if your walls have any texture, even light orange peel, consider skim coating the area. Apply a thin layer of joint compound with your wide putty knife, let it dry overnight, then sand it smooth with 120 grit sandpaper. Wipe away the dust, and you've got a surface the wallpaper will actually lay flat against. Textured walls cause air pockets that you simply cannot squeegee out. Once your walls are prepped, it's time to plan your layout. Don't start in a corner. Corners are almost never perfectly plumb, meaning they're not truly vertical, and if you use a corner as your starting reference, every panel after it will be slightly crooked. Instead, measure out from the corner and draw a perfectly vertical reference line using your level. This is your starting edge, and it ensures every panel goes up straight. For a standard wall, work from left to right if you're right-hand. Measure the height of your wall and cut your first panel about 2 inches longer than you need. You'll trim the excess at the top and bottom after it's on the wall. This gives you a little forgiveness. To apply the panel, peel back only the top few inches of the backing, don't remove the whole thing at once. This is the single most important application tip. When you strip the entire backing before hanging, the panel becomes floppy and nearly impossible to position without it folding onto itself and sticking where you don't want it. Align the top edge of your panel with your reference line, press the top section to the wall, then slowly peel the backing downward while smoothing the panel with your squeegee as you go. Work in overlapping diagonal strokes from the center outward to push any air bubbles toward the edges. For the next panel, match your pattern carefully before pressing it into place. But the edges together, don't overlap them. Overlapping seams create a visible ridge. If you're working with a bold repeat pattern, align it at eye level first, since that's where mismatches are most noticeable, and let the top and bottom trim take care of any offset at the ceiling or baseboard. Around outlets and switches, apply the panel over the top of the outlet cover, then use your utility knife to cut an X across the opening from corner to corner. Fold the flaps back and trim them flush. Remove the outlet cover plate, tuck the edges behind it, then screw the plate back on. Clean, professional finish. For corners, wrap the panel around the corner by about ½ inch rather than trying to cut it perfectly flush. Then start your next panel on the new wall using a fresh plumb line, overlapping that ½ inch wrap. This hides any slight misalignment and gives the corner a clean look. Now let's talk about removal, because this is where people panic. Removing peel and stick wallpaper without damage comes down to two things: temperature and angle. Use a hairdryer on medium heat to gently warm the panel before you pull. Heat softens the adhesive and makes it release much more cleanly. Pull slowly at a shallow angle, almost parallel to the wall, rather than pulling straight out. Pulling at a steep angle is what causes paint to lift. If you feel significant resistance, stop, apply more heat, and try again. Patience here literally saves your paint job. If there's any adhesive residue left behind after removal, a little Goo Gone or rubbing alcohol on a cloth will take it right off. Don't scrub, dab and wipe gently. One last thing to know: humidity matters. Bathrooms and kitchens aren't ideal for peel and stick wallpaper unless the product specifically says it's moisture resistant. Even then, avoid applying it directly behind a stove or inside a shower. The combination of steam and grease will defeat the adhesive no matter how well you prep. To recap what we covered: prep your walls by cleaning them thoroughly and letting paint cure for at least 30 days. Skim coat any texture for a flat surface. Start with a plumb reference line, never a corner. Peel the backing gradually as you apply. Use a squeegee to smooth from center outward. Wrap corners and trim outlets cleanly. And when it's time to remove, use heat and a shallow pull angle to protect your paint. That's really all there is to it. Done right, peel and stick wallpaper looks sharp and comes down clean when you're ready for a change. If you found this helpful, go ahead and subscribe to Home How To. We put out straightforward, no filler guides like this every week so you can tackle your home with confidence.